everyone. I'm Kina Sherman. I'm a junior in CS Games. And here's my partner, Ching, who's going to be our programmer.
Yeah.
For graphics. So our game is Vatic, and it's going to be a first-person puzzle action-adventure type of game where you have the ability of clairvoyance. And we're going to go a little bit more into that here. So we're kind of playing with the idea of what if you could change your fate, but with the caveat that you would be changing everyone else's as well as a result. So the idea is that you are having not only just visions of the future, but you're able to physically go into the future and interact with people and the environment. And we have three main mechanics as to how this goes about happening. So the first one is ghosting, and this is pretty straightforward, and where you can see a ghosted ephemeral image of whatever object you're targeting moving in a X amount of time in the future, real time in front of you. Next. And the next one, this is the most important one, is projection. And how it works is you start from where you are in the present, and say there's a moment in the future where you need to get something done. So you project yourself into the future, and you change something. Say you push someone off of a bike because you don't like them, and you come back to the present, and as the timeline moves along, you come back to that point, and you'll see that happen, but you yourself do not have to do it because you've set it in stone, if it's a little confusing. The idea is that you're kind of keyframing what you're doing in the future so that it's always set, but you yourself don't have to do it. This is kind of a sub mechanic for projection. In order to reach the point in the future during your projection, you have to use a time lapse. And that's where the player kind of moves into a space that's neither along a timeline, it's kind of a non-time space where you're able to move around and get to locations you need to get these things done. But it's also Schrodinger's cat. Yeah, so the idea is that it's going to be in a state of neither being nor non-being. So say there's a door that you need to pass through and it's blocked, and you want to get through it in the future and get something done behind it so that you can come back to the present and walk through it, you have to go through the lapse in which it'll be neither open nor closed, so you can just pass right through it. Yeah. So this is kind of a demo level that our designers have scripted for us. Where the player has to get to this target here in a boardroom and grab some confidential information that you need. So what you do is you start off in the bottom left corner down there, and you have to use your ghosting abilities to dodge this guard who will have a not so easy to read path. So you ghost past him and get inside, and this is where you will lapse so that you can take his stuff. So you push him over to make him drop his items. So that's lapse. Yeah. Yeah. So you push him off, and then you come back to the present, where you yourself will physically walk into the room, grab his item, and bolt and go. And yeah, just Okay, so we'll just explain the idea using a specific the door example because it's a little confusing. So how it works is if you were to say you were walking down a hallway and you're trying to get past a door because it's going to lock permanently if you don't make it. So you're running down and you project yourself into the future and you go through the door because it's in a non-existent state, and you will be now in the future, you stop lapse, you unlock the door, and then you jump back to the present where you're able to walk up to the door and it'll open for you because that moment has been keyframed in time. And then you walk through. Yeah. So the kind of a visual representation of how it will be, so it's easier for players to understand that you're going from the present to lapse to future, is that we wanted the present moment to kind of contrast with the future in the way that the Wizard of Oz did with having a sepia tone and then like color. But instead we're going to have it go from a normal color to having the lapse happen where everything's kind of changing and blurring, and then moving into the future where everything will be super saturated and hypercolor. So a lot of our inspiration comes from Tekon Kinkri, which is a Japanese animation from 2008 that had highly detailed backgrounds and simple characters. And we wanted to kind of emulate this along with Mirror's Edge in its modernity and have it kind of contrast with the city's outskirts as opposed to the center. So we just wanted this to be a very visual and visceral experience for the player where they're wanting to explore the world, but also utilize their abilities and kind of explore interactions with people in the environment. And the other thing that we want to get out of this is to have our team kind of work with each other, not in just this is the programming team, this is the design team, and this is art, but where we have sub-teams of artists, programmers, and designers working together so that you can kind of understand how everything works out and maybe learn from each other. So this is our current team. We have a couple engineers, a couple designers, artists, composers. We have industry advisors, Sanjay and Jem and Charles, who work at Riot, and we are looking for, yeah. Oh, he's a professor here at USC for games programming. Definitely, yeah. So the current positions that we are looking for are UI designers, modelers, riggers, animators for environment and characters, and AI graphics and gameplay engineers, as well as sound designers. And yeah, if you have any questions or any additional things, yeah, just talk to us afterwards. But go back. So yeah, we are developing in UDK as of now. This will be dependent on our team, and we may change it to Unity later if people are more comfortable with using that. But as of now, yeah. So to contact us, just send us an email at wecontrolfate@gmail.com. Yeah, so we also have a Facebook page. We update there and our website weekly, so check us out. We'll be after, yeah. So we ended a little early, so if you guys have any questions to clarify the mechanics. I know I had a little bit of a wonky explanation, but yeah. Any questions?
Questions? No questions?
I don't know see what the potential for the try to put over my head.
So it's kind of where a friend of ours, Chris, hi, who mentioned it'd be a lot like Portal 2 co-op, but with yourself. So you're kind of setting up things so that in the future, in which where the present you are able to pass through and solve puzzles. So besides locked doors, we also have 2 minutes. Okay. So besides just having doors, we would have situations where you have to avoid certain people or convince people to do things so that you're able to pass and get things done. And of course, there are stakes where if you don't do something, something else will happen as a result. Yeah.
Considering how high, like the amount of detail and high frequency detail there is in the art that you're kind of referencing, how much content are you planning to make? Like how many levels?
Right. So the current plan for final games is to do something of a level like level 1, a level 5, and maybe like a level 8 kind of deal, kind of like a Half-Life 2 demo did, where you kind of have a tutorial level and have something towards the middle of the game and later in the game to kind of give a range of how it would flow. Also our designers are working on a way so that levels kind of reiterate over the current locations that we have, so that we don't have to make continuously larger and larger assets.
So one room, but a bunch of assets.
Yeah. So I guess that's time. And yeah, we'll be around after, so.